Uncharted destinies, man.
The Knightree Lords, as they had come to call themselves, had secured their dominion over this realm. They, who revere themselves as gods, now find themselves ensnared in a web. Puppets, dancing to the tune of the malignant deity, Forboth. The lords, in their grandeur and might, with the power of their colossal world-eating ships, dominated the planet. Their singular purpose was as grim as it was awe-inspiring: to siphon the life force from planets, channeling this stolen vitality to the insatiable Forboth. Yet, born in the pride of her own hubris, 3 of the Knightree Lords betrayed the will of their creator. In a moment of audacious resolve, they turned their world-devouring ships, those harbingers of doom, towards Forboth. Before she could react, the ships unleashed their power, not to feed her, but to drain her. The tables had turned. The predator had become the prey. Forboth, in a frantic fury, unleashed a devastating surge of power. This cataclysmic force rippled through the cosmos, a tempest of raw energy that crippled each of the Knightree ships. The cradle of the Knightree, the very heart of their power, was crippled. With that final desperate act, Forboth, drained of her power, shriveled and fell into a deep slumber. The cosmos trembled at the fall of such a mighty force. In the wake of this monumental event, the Knightree Lords faced a new dilemma. With Forboth believed dead and the birth of new Knightree forces halted, they turned to the inhabitants of Terrillian. These resources were now key to maintaining their control over the planet Terrillian. The Knightree Lords, once masters of their fate, now found themselves in a precarious balance, their future intertwined with those they sought to subjugate. The saga of Terrillian and its lords had entered a new chapter, one filled with uncertainty and the promise of uncharted destinies.
Welcome to the Terrillian podcast. I'm Beard, your local nerd. To my left is Chris, the music producer.
Yes.
Ian, the creator of this madness.
Yepers.
Marina, the executive producer.
Yepers.
Hello, that's me.
And Dalton, the tech wizard.
A wizard?
He's a wizard. Because this is
Harry.
magic.
You're
This
a
is all
wizard.
magic to me.
You're a hairy wizard. Sorry, wait.
Gross.
Sounds like you need
and
to
then
shave.
Terrillian. Terrillian intro. Sorry.
Uncharted destinies.
Uncharted
Uncharted
Destinies.
destinies.
Boom.
Destinies.
Okay.
Smashing one.
Chris,
Forbidden
Uncharted
frontiers.
Destinies. Ian.
Dude. I
Yo.
know. So I think,
Epic. So exciting.
yes. I think that reading was really good.
Okay, so I just want to jump to the end. Is she dead?
Nope.
Does she come back?
Yep. I heard the word
Birds.
slumber. Does she
Yeah,
fall
so
asleep?
she's
Okay.
essentially in this like kind of almost
Because it says like
is
believe dead.
believe dead,
Comatose.
comatose like state where she's just kind of drifting in space at this point,
Interesting.
kind of like in a little fetal position, all shriveled up.
You know what I'm picturing? Like, okay, not that. I'm picturing like Tafiti. Tafiti?
Tafiti isn't dead.
Oh, yeah.
But like believed dead?
Oh yeah. In that sense, believe
Kind of
dead.
just like, go take a little nappy nap.
This is not who you are.
Oh, dude.
Wow.
No.
Hashtag Moana, I guess.
What can I say? You're welcome.
A heart of Tafiti.
Oh.
No. So yeah, she's just like floating around in like the recess of space, basically just in this like stuck little fetal position. I would like to say like a cocoon.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So with the reading, can you tell me a little bit about that first part though? We had the wording about those main key players being like the puppets of Forboth.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they puppets? Why are they not trying? I guess just elaborate that. Why are they actually puppets? What's controlling them?
So their instruction is what's in, I would say, controlling. Not necessarily controlling. It's like they're following a plan.
Okay.
So at this point, their actions were not their own. They were the bullet points of what they were doing were met and achieved by an agenda that was set up for them, not by them, but by
So they're
robot.
hardwired by this? Are they making a choice?
The choice of how they go about it is their choice. But it's kind of like you working for a company, you know, like, for example, say your job is to flip burgers. Yeah, you might flip it differently than somebody else, but the burger patty is going to get flipped.
You know it. Chris just flipping burgers.
Oh, I'm flipping.
Or,
I'm flipping
you,
those burgers.
or
bro.
you
Double
could say
cheese
you
for
were created
Ian.
to hand out butter.
What a burger.
Hand
Hashtag
out
butter.
butter.
Hashtag.
Do you,
What?
you don't get that reference? Oh, never mind.
No, it's
That's a Rick
okay.
and Morty
Wait,
reference.
there's
I'm
butter?
sure. I'm sure it's a good reference.
It wasn't, honestly. Wasn't
Oh.
really worth it.
I heard something about butter.
It's okay.
Was that what you said? Something about
Yeah,
butter?
Yeah. They were designed to pass butter.
Pass the butter?
It's okay.
Okay.
Dumb
I was
reference to a
really
dumb
trying to
show.
figure it out, dude. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, but taking.
That was not the one I intended to do.
Taking a little pause from talking about the story. This is our last episode of this season.
Yeah.
What?
We
No way.
are more like a sad pew pew pew.
I don't know.
Just like
Season two.
decrease
But yeah.
the volume as it does.
We're wrapping up season 2. This is gonna be last episode of this season. We will start season 3 later this year. We're thinking like summertime. So definitely make sure you are liked, you're subscribed, you have your notifications on, you're following us on Instagram, because whenever we do release season 3, we're gonna post like announcement on everything. So yeah, be subscribed. But-
Absolutely.
Season 3, we're starting gameplay.
Yeah.
So this is
Season
the
3.
last.
Season 3 is going to be coming in hot.
Yes, this is the last of
Hottest flavor.
the
Flav.
history, the last
Flavor
of like what the heck happened before you get here.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
That
It's
just
actually,
a little
It's about to get real intense.
little thing to know.
that's a question though. If we talk about the gameplay part, are we ever going back to history?
I mean, we'll
I
do
think we
stuff
always
like
will.
Oh,
that.
yeah,
We'll touch
yeah.
back like reference wise.
Flashbacks.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be references throughout everything. I mean, the history is what is the backbone of the game, so you can't go forward in the game without recognizing certain aspects of it.
Okay.
Like,
We'll never fully leave it. That's a good thing.
yeah, the history
Yeah.
is
Connects
For
it.
sure.
I mean, the
That's
history is
why we
circle.
did what we did, is to set the foundation
Yeah.
for the world of the game and what you interact with. So
Yeah, 100%. So like when you go through this whole world, I mean, everything you're seeing was put into place by that history. So you won't be able to go through the game without having to see that history's process. And how
it's
that
like
unfurls.
that. I think I made this analogy once before. It's like you can live life without knowing about the French Revolution, but once you've studied the French Revolution and
Yeah.
then you see the world we live in today, it kind of reframes things for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Interesting.
So-
Okay.
Again, that will all fall on the player. Like the podcast going forward will probably be to the player who's like a nerd who wants to be like a lore digger. You know, they just want to find out what's going on. Like, why is everything the way it is?
So all of us.
So all
Go.
of us
What are
here,
you trying
yes.
to say? No, I see it. What were you going to say?
No, sorry, it's a meme that I was made aware of by my wife. It's like it's actually like the Roman Empire.
Oh, man. Yeah. How often do you think of
about
the Roman Empire?
Well, in Terrillian, how often do you think about the history of Terrillian?
Oh, man. It's going to be
Hopefully-
so good.
Hopefully, it will get
Wait,
to the
can
point
y'all
where all the
actually
time.
answer that? Like, go one by one. How many
Yeah,
times a
okay,
day are
okay,
you thinking
beer.
about the Roman Empire?
Probably every week, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Once a week?
If not more. It just depends on what I'm doing. Because I
Week-
listen to a lot of
weekly-
history stuff, so it gets repeated a lot.
Weekly, what would you say?
Weekly?
Yeah.
Just like once.
2-3 times? I don't know.
My brain hurts. Chris,
She's
how often
so
are you
broken.
thinking
Chris,
about the Roman
The
Empire?
Roman Empire. Any aspect of the Roman Empire.
Is there a Roman Empire?
Oh.
Shut up. Chris. Oh, my
Chris
God.
knows girl math. That answer.
And just like
Chris
that, you're
knows
off the
girl
podcast.
math. Oh, my gosh.
Ian, how often are
Chris,
you
wait,
thinking?
no. I need a real answer from Chris.
Yeah, let's hear it. How often
Roman
do you think about
Empire.
I feel like
the
he's
Come
Roman
on.
not
I
thinking.
mean, I'm here
I know-
now, so
You.
Okay.
I mean,
yearly.
that was the history. I'm the
Yearly.
future. I'm the future, bro.
Yearly, Chris.
Future, bro.
I think he's being honest.
I don't think Chris
about
thinks
them
about
at
the
all.
Roman Empire.
Okay, except the fact that you brought up.
I mean, there's movies about it, I
Sure.
guess. So I don't know.
Right.
Maybe I'll watch a movie.
Gross.
How dare you, sir?
Gross.
Wow. Okay, Ian,
Yeah. Yeah, no, all the time because a lot of the war tactics that
Per
my
month.
characters use per week.
No, Ian
Per month.
answered per day. He's like, I think about it twice a day.
Twice a day?
Well, it's because of the way
Dude.
my guys fight. They have
literally what in
Roman
the world?
aspects to them.
Or
I look
Dude,
at
yeah,
Roman
for sure.
architecture, Roman, what's it called? Like all their statues and things like that.
Yeah.
I look at those as inspiration for my drawings.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and you can tell, like in your drawing of Chronocopy, you can tell even in the musculature of the
The way he
of
looks, it's
Chronocopy,
very
you can
like
see that it's very
Roman.
Romanesque, very
Yeah.
very Grecian.
very strong,
Yeah.
strong jawline, the buckle chin, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
It has those, the buckle chin, bro. They were obsessed
Sorry,
with like
I
that
just can't help but think of
circular-
Fairly Odd Parents. I don't know why.
The crimson chin.
There goes the crimson chin.
Sorry, I apologize.
Was that his
No,
like,
good.
superpower?
Yeah,
No,
he
Yeah,
had
it
a-
was
Fairly
just
Odd
had a big
Parents.
chin.
he had a
It was
super
literally-
powerful
yeah,
chin,
he
bro.
was-
Crimson as in red.
Don't worry, you
so,
wouldn't know
like,
about it. You don't know
red
about the
chin?
Romans. You don't
So
know
you
about the
have red
Romans.
chins
Roman
over here.
Empire, though.
I'm so sorry.
Red
I did
chin.
this.
Yeah, Courtney asked me this the other day. She
So
was
how
like,
often?
"How often do you think of the Roman Empire?" And I was like, "Probably. I mean, at least daily. Maybe
it's a
so
real thing.
It's hard because it's like the Roman
just
Empire,
depends
the
on what
rise
I'm
and
doing.
fall of the Roman Empire,
Yeah.
It
almost
mirrors
directly mirrors
Yeah.
where the United States is today.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, maybe
So
that's
it's
why I'm
like
trying not to think
you're
about
looking
it.
at
Like,
it-
I'm gonna be
Understandable.
happy. I'm gonna be oblivious. I'm gonna look at my little tickety
And
talk
that's like,
trends.
and that's like, we could get in trouble for what I'm about to say, but
Oh,
Here we go.
that's
Just
good. It might
bleep
be
it out.
controversial.
Very
It might-
controversial thing.
Controversial.
It might get us like a couple views. No, I'm saying.
I'm a little
No.
scared.
We'll just bleep it out. It's
I
fine.
feel like
He doesn't bleep it out.
men. I feel like men think of that a little bit more than women do.
How dare you?
absolutely.
assume
And that's
such
why-
a
that's why-
thing.
That's why I
No,
think
yeah.
isn't that part of the whole TikTok thing is that
That's
the women are
that's
like,
exactly why.
Yeah.
But no, and
That's
it's
why
like
we're all in shock. Like, why do y'all
men-
think about this? Like the
men
Roman
have
Empire.
to think about 100 years into the future.
What?
Yeah. No. Okay.
I mean,
Ian
I
and I
can
have
barely
had this
think about what I
conversation
want for
that like
tomorrow, but yeah.
just like between the two of us, the way like Ian and I think, like Ian is very like, I have these big ideas, like I have the big picture. And like for me, I'm like, okay, let's figure out all the tiny meticulous
Minutia.
details of like getting to the big picture. So maybe it's just like you're thinking big picture, I'm thinking the day by day functioning.
But to be fair, you're very much so like that. Like ever
Correct.
since
I
I've
am
I mean,
known you.
I feel
extremely
like that's
type A
exactly
and
why
listy.
a man and a woman are a perfect match.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you
Like,
need
women-
you
women
need the big
focus on the
idea
minutia.
and you need the meticulous detail. That's why like
Exactly.
the opposites attract. Like you get the both of the way.
My wife and I are very different people.
Yeah, correct.
Why? Who is your wife? What do you mean?
Well, she's someone.
Oh man. Oh, you're not going to tell us about all the intricate details
No.
of your life?
No,
Beard?
not at all. Yeah,
Whom
me,
we've
who
never
has no
seen on
face.
camera?
You had a thought. Here's the detail.
Beard, who currently let the record show, Beard currently has a paper bag over his head.
Yeah, I do.
We
Just
have
to be
he
never
sure.
does.
seen
No,
his
it's true.
face.
Yeah. We've we've never even actually seen his face. He currently has a paper bag on his
name
head.
isn't
He's never
even
walked
Beard.
in.
I found him
to the
outside of a
studio.
Wendy's
His
one
wedding,
day.
paper
and
bag.
Yeah.
He just the way he talked to me outside of that Wendy's, I was like, "You need to come. You need to come here."
Her, this
I
is
need
the
you to listen.
You need to make me think
Yeah, no,
about the
you just
Roman
pulled up and
Empire.
you were like, I ordered a burger, and next thing I know, you were just telling me about this game, and I'm like, dude, this is a Wendy's.
I was like, "I hear you."
Okay.
Sorry,
Okay.
off track.
The Knightree Lords.
I'm still thinking about Wendy's.
I know, right? When
I'm now thinking about the Roman Empire.
I know we're hungry, right?
Finally,
I know.
about time you thought
Well,
about
to
it.
answer the question, I think about the Roman Empire never until that TikTok trend, and
That
also I
TikTok?
have zero concept of what aspect of the Roman Empire thinking about. Their outfits, their houses,
The whole thing.
war.
The whole king caboodle.
Couldn't
That's-
answer because I literally
No.
have never thought about it.
That's
Sounds
so
like a
funny.
choice that you
Couldn't
made.
even tell you what years that happened.
And the Roman.
But yeah,
wars.
like,
1200s.
I made that
Is
comparison
this
though.
BC?
I made that comparison was
Oh,
like
man.
you can know about the French Revolution or not, and you could still live your life. But it's the same way about the Roman Empire. Like you can know about the Roman Empire and look and see the things around you and be like, oh wow, this mirrors that, this mirrors that, or like yourself, or you never think about it and you're still able to live life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
You can
That
be a
whole-
functioning human and never think about the Roman Empire.
right, yeah. So, and I just think it's super cool. Like
You
the
know.
previous chapter, we talked about how like they rewrote history.
Yeah.
To,
Yeah.
And so now in this current chapter we're talking about, they're trying to in a way rewrite history again, but this time the three of them, because only three of the Knighttrees actually went and
Did what they did.
did what they did. It wasn't
Yeah.
four of them. Oh, who was
Yeah.
the one who didn't?
Wait.
What?
Oh, wait, is it? Do we know?
Oh, wait.
Yeah, we do.
Which
Wait, who?
are we gonna say?
Did we
No, no.
discuss that? We
Well,
didn't say
speak.
the
I don't
names.
think we said it.
Speak. Enter the
Because
conversation,
it's
my
part
friend.
of something in the game that you play, so I don't think we want to touch it yet.
Do we want?
But
do we-
wait.
do we not want to
If
touch
it's
on
only
that?
3 and we touched on the 3 that did, obviously people will understand who the 4th is.
Did we say the name of the three?
Did we
I don't
say?
think
I
we
don't
said
think
the
we
name
did
of
it.
the three.
No, we
Did we
didn't.
not?
No, we didn't. We said that they turned on. We didn't even specify that
Like
was three
and subscribe to figure out the 4th.
But like that,
We'll
it's
get
just
there
interesting
eventually,
'cause
I'm
they're
sure.
like, in a way they're
Donate
trying
to
to
our PayPal account and we'll email you the answer.
one word.
Wow. Wow.
But it's interesting because in a way they're trying to rewrite the history again. But
Yeah.
this time it's for them as opposed
Rewrite
to
it
the
again?
inhabitants. They're like, we're not going to be slaves anymore. We're going to be real gods. And obviously it doesn't quite pan out the way they wanted. But
No.
Like the
Interesting.
Roman Empire.
whoa.
Oh my
Isn't it
gosh,
the
Chris.
consequence of my
That was
own
so
actions?
3 minutes ago, Chris.
Dude.
It's what happens when Caesar dies and the generals take over.
At two
Metaphor, bro.
What?
I said metaphor.
Did you say et tu brute?
No, that's
No,
what
that's
Cam
what I
said.
said, my guy.
Oh, I thought that was you, and it
Et
didn't match
tu
what your lips
brute?
were saying. I was confused.
No, it's okay.
Sorry.
So, what made them think to turn their ships?
On to Terrillian,
Yeah,
aka Forboth.
Forboth. Yeah. Okay, so where was the disconnect there? Where did it switch from Terrillian to Forboth?
Oh, it took so long for me to switch it back to Terrillian in my head. You remember that when we first started this
I
thing?
was gonna say because
Just-
you've been in the Forboth mentality for a while.
yeah, it took a minute for us
Years.
to gear my brain back into, it's still in Terrillian phase.
Yeah, those of you that are watching, this has been a nightmare to try to stop him from saying Forboth. He said
Yeah.
Forboth every episode at least 50 times.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now that I've been trained to say Terrillian, now it's even more chaotic.
Yeah,
'cause
it's
now Terrillian means the planet, and it also means the person.
And
now it's
Darth
Forboth.
Mar and Darthma, and it's just
Yeah, when
you know,
they
you
say
have to be
when
paying
they say
attention.
when they say tech producer, they also mean editor.
Yes.
And so editing all of the Forboth out of this.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
You
no, it's
edited
okay.
Yeah.
the Forboth out of this.
I
But
edited.
you only have
I
a couple
edited the
more
Forboth out of
episodes
Well, no, Forboth is now mainstream.
of doing that
We
because
can talk
now,
about
well, yeah,
it.
now it is.
Forboth is now active.
As of let's see, episode.
I think it was 3 or 4 ago.
5.
5. Yeah.
Where
Forboth
was
is
the
now
where was
Forboth.
the okay, so there was a shift, right? What was the fulcrum? What was the catalyst that made it switch from Terrillian to Forboth?
In
when she
episode-
took on
yeah.
the Knighttrees, when she started making the Knighttrees, she reinvented herself.
Did she
Why?
lose herself?
Yeah, she basically, like, not to go too far backwards, but she
No, go
essentially
far back.
No,
I want to know.
Well, you need to watch the previous podcasts.
Okay, but assume I'm jumping into the
We'll do a
podcast right now.
little
What are you talking
linky
about?
link
Do
to
a little bit of give me-
episode 5.
Basically, she hated everything about Kraith, who was the one who made her, so she changed everything about herself to become something that she wanted to be, which was Forboth.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's
She shed her
actually
identity.
just as like Zage didn't know who Kraith was, they don't know that Terrillian was Terrillian. They only know her as Forboth.
Yeah.
Oh,
So they
So we
don't.
didn't
so in a
know
way,
that.
they don't even know that the planet Terrillian
was
was
named
made
after her.
for her. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So-
So okay.
Interesting.
So it's like, you know, I'm gonna go biblical. So like Simon goes Peter,
Garfunkel. Oh,
right?
okay.
Simon Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Is it like that transition for her? Or is it more like Anakin to Vader?
Yes.
Anakin to Vader.
And I'll read a little
Like,
a little
does she
sentence.
see herself as going to more of a deity,
she changed
Yes.
her body.
or does she see
into
herself
something
going
completely
to
different.
more of a?
I think the Vader
powerful
is
being.
the best analogy because,
think so.
in a way, Vader lost his body,
Right.
and she, in a way, lost her
Here,
body.
I'll
but
read it.
really, it was just
It's-
transformed it. Okay.
In her madness, she morphed the metal to her own being, taken an
This is
even
season
further
1, right?
step away. Season 2, episode 5.
What?
We talked about this. You were there.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. Taken
There's
an
a lot.
even
Dude,
further step
twice.
away from any resemblance of what Kraith had so lovingly wrought, and finally, in a fit of manic laughter, shed her own name, and took another.
I do remember this. The
Yeah.
manic laughter.
Yeah.
That
So it was
it's
just
the
like,
manic laughter for me.
yeah.
Not maniacal.
It's that.
It was just like out of hate. She was
What's-
like, he made this. He had his hand in the way.
That she looked.
She looked and she was like, I'm going to completely rebel and do something completely different.
Much
Well,
like
the-
an adolescent teen.
Sorry,
about
my,
to say,
my mind is
adolescent
in
teen living in the
meme
flesh.
mode. You said manic laughter, and I thought of that one meme template where she's like, and that's when I fell, is that smile, that darn smile. But it's that manic laughter, that darn manic laughter.
Okay, so going back to the story. The ships are brokey.
Yes, they
Going
have,
back to story.
Yeah, they've-
Ships have been destroyed.
What is the cradle?
Ooh,
Yes,
that's a good
so
question.
Cradle is what I always pictured it was kind of like a big manufacturing unit for basically Knightrees.
Like a 3D printer?
The cradle.
in a very much
Different
more
way, but
elaborate
Like
in
from
that
the-
sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Like from the Matrix where they're
Think of a
growing
gigantic
humans.
Think of like of a gigantic
Yeah, so
womb.
Matrix.
Yeah, like the Matrix.
Yeah, so they create the Knighttrees there. So the way the Knightree, so if you look at the actual designs of each individual Knightree, like as far as their like, what is it called? Their what am I referring?
Anatomy?
Intestines.
Anatomy. Thank you.
Oh.
So their anatomy. Why their intestines? Why that
This
specific
close.
organ?
That's what you were touching. You're like,
Well, I was trying to say like
Sorry, I'm
more
trying real hard to be
general.
helpful.
Their anatomy. They all have something called a core, right? So
Okay.
when they're going through the planets before they hit Terrillian, when they're going through all the other remaining planets and destroying them, coming closer and closer to Terrillian, they're manufacturing more units. And each core that they would rip out of a sun would be basically made as like a permanent heart/soul design. It's more elaborate than that, but for the sakes of logistics, that's the way it works. So they were torn from her. She made them into these. She formed their soul and put them into these robotic-esque husks.
Do they have a soul? I thought they were just AI.
They're kind of just AI, but I like to say soul because it sounds better. Soul.
Okay.
So wait, is it okay? Would you say that they have a soul?
No.
Well, their soul is their mind, will, and emotions. So AI could function.
Under
AI
that premise,
could power a
yes.
soul. Yes.
But like under the premise, like if they die, do they like float around as like an angelic spirit or a demonic spirit or some kind of spiritual form? No.
Right. I mean, would their
Like, do
spirit?
they have a
their-
mind? Do they have a will? Do they have emotions?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Okay.
They have mind, will, they have emotions.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah,
I
the
went
three.
through that faster than I did my fingers. So they have mind, will, and emotions. Do they have a central driving force?
How often do the Knightree think about the Roman Empire?
At
Oh my
least
gosh.
daily. Oh my.
I can't believe we went there. Okay. Do they have a central driving force?
Yeah.
It's the Roman Empire.
Is it Forboth?
Forboth gave them their personality in the sense of like what
Forboth
they
gave
drive.
them their soul, correct?
Gave them their drive, yeah. So they have a function, they have a want. A lot of their want is based off their narcissism. So
Okay.
again, like a lot of the want that they have is like self-validation, godhood. The same
So
things.
did-
You can almost mirror it. It's the same things that Forboth wanted. She wanted to be non-subservient to anyone other than herself.
So in making them, did she split her spirit?
Would a mother split her spirit to a child?
Well,
Really?
see, that's a different question. So I'm asking, did she, when she created them, do they each have their own unique central driving force, so their spirit? Or are they only functioning from a soul, a mind, will, and emotion?
So they're functioning from a mind, will, and emotion. But that
Okay.
mind, will, and emotion, like I'm trying to make sure I understand properly.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. So basically, they don't have a.
We're getting into the weeds a little
Yeah,
bit. I get
it's,
it.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of the harder to put a pen to paper on it for this
Yeah.
part, but she did not split her soul to make them. Okay.
Okay.
She
Not a Harry
made them.
Potter.
They were hands on for her. So she actually.
So they're not Horcruxes.
no Horcruxes here.
Hashtag Harry Potter.
She made them as far as like going in there and personally having her hand involved in each individual one's development.
Right.
When they developed and she made each one, then they went out and made their aristocracy and the drone. So they at that point made their own, and then they went out from there. So each one's uniquely designed by her, and they carry her characteristics. and then all of them ones going forth from there. So it's kind of like
More like a child
what's
parent
that thing that
relationship?
game that kids play?
Like, so
Telephone.
They're
Yeah.
like her
Where
children.
one person says a thing
Yeah,
of
yeah.
line, and the next person, and it keeps getting
Yeah.
more and more distorted
yeah.
as it goes on. Same kind of thing.
So they're like her children.
In a way, yeah.
But her creation.
But you see it with
What
Demeus.
separates them from just being a robot?
That's
or are
the
they
hardest
just a
thing for me to
robot?
answer. No, they're not a robotic. I
Well-
would say like imagine you have my body, but instead of it being made of flesh and bone, it's made of metal. Would
I
you
think
at
it's
that point
like-
say I'm a robot?
I think how I interpret it is like it's AI in like the science fiction version of it, where it's like they do
Like
become real.
iRobot
They do
AI.
become
Yeah.
what's that word you use?
There's no-
Sentient
Sentient.
It's
like
Sentient.
it is
Proper
Passes
not
the Turing test.
modern
There's
day
no real distinct
AI
difference.
where it's just
Ooh,
like
dude, Ex Machina.
algorithms. It's like actually
Yeah.
a living.
If y'all haven't seen
thinking
Ex
thing.
Machina, do it.
I have not.
No.
It's a good movie.
Wicked
But yeah, no,
good
I
movie.
think that's.
Is that like more correct in
Side note, sorry.
the,
So
the
Ex
thinking?
Machina, that's leaning more into the AI as actual artificial intelligence.
Yeah, yeah.
Where,
Yeah.
But there's
That's
no
where
real
I'm trying to get
distinctive
at.
difference in the application between the AI and a real human being.
Yeah,
Right.
so I
Yeah.
think that's what he's asking. Is that what it's more like?
What's driving it?
Like I said, their own narcissism in a way.
Right, but
They're-
where does
they're-
the narcissism come from? That's what I'm trying to
It
get
was,
at.
it was
designed
it was programmed into
into
them when she created. That's like we were talking about earlier about how there's certain elements within their nature that are mirrors of Terrillian because she made them, she designed them, and thus, like outside, it wasn't like intentional for her when she made them like herself in personality.
Okay. So
So,
it's
that's
like,
where that central drive is coming from, is that they're made like her, and that's why they inevitably betray her because they are like her.
so like okay, so say I'm using Chat GPT, right? We'll use that as an example.
Yeah, so it's not that. It's not just like
No, but
we're
it
taking
it kind of is though. That's what I'm
algorithms.
saying. So it's not just algorithms.
But you're comparing
is
it to like a human, like a real world scenario. It is not like a real world like Chat GPT. Like you can only plug in and it can
That's
only
what-
give out.
That's
It
what I'm saying
is-
though. It is a
That's what that is.
direct correlate. It's not though. It's a direct correlation to what your prompt is that you put in. So she put a prompt in when she created the Knightree.
Kind of,
They
yeah.
are the reaction to the prompt that she put in. They are what
yeah,
came
but they
out.
still have their own
To an
personality and
extent,
stuff. Or their own-
yes.
As an analogy, it falls
they
apart
have
if you
their-
think about it past that. But yes.
Yeah, like
Like-
it's
How do you
more
mean?
than that. It is like I
Because
said,
they-
it's true science fiction.
Yeah,
Like
it's a true
it's
science.
if-
Yeah.
Chat. Okay, you saw that movie. What is it? With Smart House. Did you ever see the movie Smart House?
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
The Disney
Disney
Channel.
I feel like
movie.
no.
Let's
Hear me
go.
out. I
My
feel like
wife made me watch that movie because
Oh,
we didn't
good.
watch
We
Disney
watched that in
Channel.
Florida
What-
not too long
I
ago.
We
feel
only
like
have
what
a
you
Armed
that
Forces
movie.
are
Network.
comparing it to is like when it's just Smart House. I feel like what it is when it actually becomes like human and it's actually thinking and it's not just like a series of algorithms. It is living thing. So the
So
force
that's-
behind it, maybe like what was plugged in was a certain thing, but its
Right.
force became its own thing because it is its own
Yeah.
living,
For
breathing
all
human
intents
thing.
and purposes, the night trees are human beings. They're just made out of metal.
Yeah.
So it's like 20 years into the future when we plug a prompt into Chat GPT 50 or whatever we're at that point, and then it actually becomes
Yes and
artificial
no, but the thing
intelligence.
is that you wouldn't even have to put in a prompt, is what we're trying to say. It just would.
Yeah.
It already knows.
Well, I mean,
what it
she
wants.
had to instigate.
Well, no,
There
it's-
had to
it's
be a
like- it's like-
catalyst.
but that goes back to what he tried to do when, like, a mom, when a mother has a baby, she programmed it with her DNA, but she didn't necessarily intentionally program it with her DNA. It is
Yeah.
just now born, and it has, in a way, like I've heard so many parents say this, where like, oh, I can see elements of your personality within this child. It's like that.
like genetics. Or
It is
something.
its nature. It's
less
not its
related
nurture.
to. I would say it's less related to programming and more related to birth. So it's more like
That's tough because they're
And that's why this is
that's
sci-fi.
I was about to say that's hard
Yeah.
for me to wrap my head
That's why
around.
are we referring to
Because
it as a
is
dark, epic, dark
Fantasy.
fantasy. I like, don't know the order they go in.
Fantasy, No, I'm like
Chris, be
I'm
quiet.
trying to wrap my head around it though because it's
listening.
like
Yeah.
it's like it's tough to wrap your head around.
Yeah,
And that's why,
'cause-
like, I don't know if I said this before during a podcast.
It's where
but,
the
like,
natural
this
meets the
kind of AI
supernatural.
that we're talking
Yeah.
about, that these are, I don't think that's actually possible.
No.
Really.
I genuinely don't think that that is possible because AI is algorithmic intelligence. For an AI to get to the point where it is creating itself from scratch, because that's what these guys basically are. They have elements of their personality that was derived from their mother. She didn't necessarily intentionally put that within them, but they are just doing their own thing.
Yeah,
like
like
a child would be.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's wild.
Horvath didn't intentionally make them like narcissistic or like
yeah, they did. She didn't do
she
that
made
on
them
purpose.
as like a hey, I just want y'all to go.
She made them as
Do my work.
strategic weapons.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the same way Demeus was made in a sense. So Demeus, when he came down, he was the same kind of personality tropes. He had narcissism. He had, he's egotistical.
We just
He
didn't
had-
get to see much of that because it wasn't alive very long.
Yeah, no, he didn't last very long. He got ripped apart very quickly. But she upgraded them. So again, it's not that they're robotic. That's the big misconception about Knighttrees. It's not that they're necessarily robotic. They are metal, and they are basically, she took like a human and just upgraded it in her mind, what she would say, separating it. Because we talk about it just a little bit in one of the previous podcasts where her first onslaught to the planet was something of flesh and blood. Second onslaught was something of stone. And finally, this big third onslaught is something made of metal. So she's been upgrading what they are, making them intentionally stronger each time. But it's not that they're robotic per se, as much as it is that they are human-esque that are metal
Interesting.
and
Okay.
very tall. Very, very tall. That's why if you look at the pictures that I've designed of them, they have they have an anatomy going around them. It's not just
Yeah, for
like
sure.
it's not just gears and
With the
cogs.
hive and
yeah,
everything.
you have these things that are not just gears and cogs. They look robotic because they have a metal essence around them, but they're not robotic.
Yeah, because this is a fantasy. This is not sci-fi.
So on that
Interesting.
note, on the fantasy note though, can we read the last line again of the reading?
Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh.
Because I
kind
kind of want to get into the game a little bit, bro.
I'll just read the whole last sentence.
Just the last sentence. Listen to this,
saga?
Ian.
The saga of Terrillian and its lords had entered a new chapter, one filled with uncertainty and the promise of uncharted destinies.
Dun dun dun.
Uncharted Destinies has to be one of the greatest, I don't know,
Yeah.
lines or phrases. So can you tell me a little bit about this transition? As we're going to be getting into gameplay, I'm excited without giving a lot of spoilers. Why are we going into Uncharted Destinies and how does that tie into the beginnings of the game?
Freedom of gameplay, freedom of choice. So at this point, Uncharted Destinies just is like a kind of a nod to the fact that we wrapped up the history and now we wrapped up the history and now we are talking about your characters. So from here on in, I've orchestrated all the history for you. From here going forward, it's you playing out whatever story or whatever style you want to do. So at this point, it's less of me guiding you. It's more of you getting to take control of the world on your own.
Taking control. So sandbox kind of idea?
I mean, you have that freedom of like an open world RPG. So you have that freedom to be like, if I want to run to that mountain over there, I can run to that mountain over there. If I don't get killed by some random mob between there and the mountain.
But there are also other wills that you will have to contend with because it's not a static world.
Yeah,
There
it's
are
not just you
things
by yourself.
happening within the world that you will end up having to react to as you're playing.
And this all ties to the history and why we're at where we're at, right?
This ties into your character very specifically.
Can you get a little bit more about the history when your character starts? I'm trying to kind of continue to bridge that gap, right? Like if you want to go to a mountain, you go to a mountain. If you want to go somewhere, go somewhere. But how does this history tie into all of this stuff? Like what all is actually going on at this time?
So at this time, when your character comes into play, there's a lot of political tension between the Knighttrees. And there's a lot of...
And the inhabitants?
and the inhabitants as well, yeah. So you have a lot of political tension. You have a lot of, I guess you can say, you have more questions than you get answers.
Oh, okay.
So you're going through this world and you're seeing all this stuff and you're like, what is this? Why do I not know what this is? Like this does not, it doesn't go off. Like if you see a guy dressed in medieval armor, you're like, okay, I'm in a medieval game right out the gate. Like, you know, because you see that guy in medieval armor, but then you see a Knightree for the first time. And
you're like, wait, this is sci-fi? But
you're
it's not.
You're like, wait, there's robots? You know, common conception. It's a robot? You know, like there's robots in this world? No.
Close, but no.
Close, but no cigar. Like, it's one of those things where you are going to be seeing things with fresh eyes.
You're like consistently shattering all preconceived notions.
Yeah. So
like every time somebody sees something and inherently your predisposition is to assume that thing means one thing or another.
Mm-hmm. So
and every time they see that, you just like, oh, maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah. So I mean, like for a while, you won't even know that there's soft magic system. Like you won't even see that for a while. And when you finally do interact with that in some capacity, like you're going to be freaking out. You're like, wait, that's something I can utilize? I can do that? Like that's going to be a really trippy moment for when you finally see somebody utilize that system.
I don't know if this question was asked before, but do the Knighttrees have any kind of magic system of their own, or are they purely a physical?
Oh.
Like in what way?
Like the Darth Maul had the Taoist so that they can use. Do the Knighttrees have anything that they use? They do not. Okay.
No.
It's magic fighting, just like force.
Like
it's
lasers.
Magic fighting, I guess you could say.
Technology?
There's no technology.
Yeah, it's
Knighttrees don't have lasers. They don't have guns.
No, there's no guns.
They just happen to be made of metal.
They don't get any magic from force.
How does that make sense? What powers the metal?
Fist fighting.
Fantasy.
They're engineered more efficiently.
But
So
they
think
don't get
about-
any.
That's actually one of the
That breaks my brain.
One of the things that fantasy, not fantasy, sci-fi authors like to do. What am I thinking of? It's not the Bobaverse. What series was it?
The Roman Empire.
So there's a sci-fi series where, you know, like the idea that there's innumerable kinds of life throughout the galaxy, and they can take all different kinds of forms and shapes. Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Shoot, I forget the name of the series itself, but Metal World is the name of one of the books. In the book, there are these Machine World is actually what it's called. There's this one world where there is life on this planet that happened to evolve, that just happened to be
mercenaries.
Yes, that's what it's called. That just happened to evolve as robots, but they're not really technological. They just happen to evolve that way. That's just how it happened to be, and that's one of the things that people like to play with within sci-fi settings. So in a way, that is kind of what this is, except instead of evolving, it was created, and they just happened to be created to function as metal beings.
Yeah. So essentially, guns.
That's so cool.
Guns, jets, lasers, you know, things like that we use, that doesn't exist for them. They don't have that. So again, think about it like this. Imagine you are a god, right? And you have the ability to create people, and you know about the idea of metal. So you make these metal beings, but you don't know about guns. You don't know about lasers. And then you basically give them the best swords they can have, the best spears they can have, the best, you know, bow and arrow that they could have, if you want to put it that way. Like there's a lot of things like that. They still carry medieval style weaponry, but they themselves are superiorly made.
I like that because I feel like you're trying to put yourself in one time frame or another, and you can't.
Yeah, no, because again, when you see them, you're going to start assuming, oh, well, there's lasers. You're going to start assuming the natural tropes of something that looks the way they do. You're going to assume that until you realize that, oh, great, this guy who's about to fight me has a sword? Wait, why is this robot at the time when you see it? Like, why is this gigantic robot fighting me with a big sword? Why wouldn't he use a gun or something? Because there's no guns. That was one of the things, like, for me, the idea of guns, I don't get me wrong, I love guns personally, but but like the idea
Okay, I think we might have to hold on, Ian. Like, start that sentence over again.
Sorry,
I don't need the internet being like, I love guns.
No. But like, my idea is like the idea. You know, in Japan, Dalton, you'll probably get this better than most.
Okay.
But you know, in Japan, where the Japanese started bringing
for
in
the
rifles.
record, Dalton is I grew up in Japan.
Yeah.
But anyway,
So
continue.
when they brought in rifles to Japan,
Japanese
a lot of the
people.
samurai who practiced the way of the sword were basically defeated quite quickly by guns.
I wouldn't say quickly, but yeah.
Relative.
Relatively. Someone who hadn't trained for 30 years in the art of swordfare could take on someone like that and kill them with a gun quite easily.
Right.
So the
It's
idea
like
was
bringing a gun to a sword fight.
yeah.
like the-
I mean,
just
it's exactly
precisely.
that. Like removing
exactly
the guns
that.
and the lasers out of my game allowed for some level of, I guess you can say,
Playability.
playability. I guess between
It's an entirely
everything.
different game when you introduce. I can't help but think of you have the Dark Souls games, which I know you love, but then you actually also have the Remnant from the Ashes. It is Dark Souls but with guns, and it's a very different.
Very
Like they
different
try
world.
really hard to make it be the same, but ultimately it's very different in how they both play.
Well, this all kind of makes sense with what you've already talked about, though. Like with the Knightrees, any revolution, anything that's happened, they've squished immediately, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of ties in anyone trying to build a weapon or whatever. And in the Knightrees and this higher power, they're just nothing but strength. They don't need weapons when they've crushed any kind of revolution, anything.
So,
So
the
it
evolution
speaks
of their
volumes to
weaponry
it.
doesn't
Yeah.
need to exist.
Yeah, there's no purpose for it. I like that
Porpoise?
though.
Porpoise.
Purpose.
Wow.
Yeah, so for
Purpose.
them, they have already, I guess exactly what you said. They have
High five,
reached,
Chris.
they've reached the highest point of warfare to where they know they're unstoppable. So they don't need to change their warfare style. Now
and
it's up
that's
to,
sorry.
Interesting.
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, and that's part of the reason why when they got rid of the Darthma, and Felison's ability to use the Dawasil, that they started to win.
Mm.
Because before that, they could use that magic to actually fight and kill them. But now they only have swords, axes, bows
They
to
don't have
fight
that
back.
extra power.
And like, I don't know if you've ever shot an arrow at a plate of steel. Doesn't really affect
Just
this.
breaks your arrow.
It just breaks your arrow, and that's why like they quickly fell after they lost it. That was
Yeah.
all.
Okay,
They
that
have
makes
no
sense.
power. They
Yeah.
have
That-
nothing. Yeah.
As I say, that actually is a fantastic.
It's like this is all
way to-
coming together.
It's like we thought about it.
Like we thought.
It's funny. I feel like this whole podcast is a way to organize all of the
Yeah.
the thoughts
yeah.
and the ideas.
Well, we
of-
organized it once before, but we kind of lost that notebook.
Yeah.
This was
but
written.
now it's
It was.
permanent.
It's like as if it was removed from history or something. Well, it's like
Wow.
a circle, bro.
Just like the
It's just like-
Roman Empire.
So with that, we'll draw to a close.
Can I actually talk about what went into right before this podcast, but be vague, kind of?
Yeah.
Sure.
So Ian and I had written this all out like 7 years ago when he talked me through it for the first time. Like I had a notebook. It was like 30 pages of just bullet points
wow.
and just
Dang.
going through the whole thing. And we lost it. I have no idea where it went.
We looked everywhere.
I'm devastated to this day. But when we were going through and redoing this chapter or talking through this chapter a few days ago, and then today, Ian was talking about the one character that doesn't go against Forboth. And he's just like, this is why this happened. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that entirely. And he's like, yeah, because of this thing. I'm like, yeah, I remember that now, but I completely lost that. So like, it's just really cool little aspect of.
Now it's recorded though.
Now it's recorded,
Now-
but I
now
was
it's
very
recorded.
vague, so I didn't spoil
Good job,
anything.
Dalton.
Yeah, we had to go through and so I have just hundreds upon hundreds of like loose leaf paper that I've been just writing things on there. Like poor Dalton very graciously listened to me yammer about all the random things. Like I was just going through stacks of paper because I was trying to like refresh my brain on all the different stuff before we went into it. So I was just rambling every random note, and some of it was my own personal critiques on my own
Dude,
art.
it was actually kind of amazing. Like we were going through, and for those of you watching, while we were setting up all of this, there's lots of lights and cables and all kinds of crazy stuff that's going on behind the scenes here.
You can't see it though.
You
That's-
can't see it. That's
Nope.
kind of the idea. But while I was doing all of this, Ian, our wonderful,
Mad genius.
our wonderful creator over here, the Mad Giant,
Jeans.
We've been
Mad
playing
Genius?
some
the Mad
Jackbox.
Genius over here.
Dude,
He is like going through all of these binders and all these notebooks and everything's of notes and of drawings and of everything that he has. And he's like reading everything that he sees. And it's stuff from like 15-year-old or 14-year-old or 13-year-old Ian writing. So grammar is terrible. The drawing
It's
is
not
like
much better.
not wait,
Better than what I
recorded.
can do. My stick
We've recorded.
oh man, but it's like it's raw and it's real
Yeah.
and it's like wow,
Raw spelled backwards is war.
war.
It is war.
You're so smart, Chris.
I know.
So
And with that,
proud of you.
we'll draw to a close. Ah, dude, my God.
No, but it was really fantastic because it was not only was I was able to sit over here and build something that can contribute to this world that has been in the process of being created for 10 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
4th or 5th grade. Maybe.
15.
Right. A long time.
Yeet.
But it was I was able to get a little bit of a glimpse into the beginning of the world that is Terrillian. And so it was an interesting gift for me that I wasn't expecting.
It's inspiring.
It is. It really is. And it made every little aspect of me, putting up a light or running a microphone cable or something like that. It made that a little bit more worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Kind
so
of
it's-
like the Roman Empire. Oh my God. Because that's what I thought about
I
today.
apologize, everyone. I did this.
Like the Roman
Triggered.
Empire, bro.
No, shut up.
Yeah, dude, I thought about it.
Finally.
So join us next week when Chris is not on the podcast.
Psych, there is no next week.
Oh,
Join
man.
us in the summer.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. This is
gosh.
the last episode. So sad.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so all of this is super cool. I'm excited for season 3 to actually start talking about the game and the fact that there's still a story to the game, but you have the freedom to play it how you want.
Yeah.
So
Uncharted.
That's actually a game though, so we
yeah, that's why I
Probably
was pausing. I was just like, is he making a reference? I don't think he's making a reference. Is he?
Oh, I thought you just meant like the actual term uncharted because it's uncharted for your character.
Uncharted Destinies.
it is uncharted territory.
Destinies that are uncharted.
Well, see,
Those
are
are
two
both
different games.
games.
As well.
I was about to say
See
two
how I
different
did
games.
that?
Destiny,
See
Uncharted.
how I
We'll do
did
it.
that?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
No,
You can leave.
it's
You're
it's
welcome.
You can leave.
You're welcome, bro.
Yeah.
See you next
exciting.
week.
Okay.
It's funny. It's kind of a double-edged sword because I'm hoping the people that watch this right now, like, subscribe, please. Are watching it before it's a game because that means right now. But also, I want to talk to the people that are watching it when it's already a game because this is what it was like in the beginning.
Yeah.
This is what it was
Madness.
like before
Trying to get Ian's ideas recorded.
every.
The
Man.
notebook and lose the notebook.
Yeah.
That's-
Bro, I'm
that's-
so
that's
sorry
the
about
real
this
nightmare.
notebook.
I left it with you.
I know you did. I looked everywhere.
Or
Like,
record an entire episode and then it just is lost to the ether.
and you know me, I'm pretty
Nothing is
meticulous about
forever.
keeping all my stuff. Like I can't find it. I've looked
I don't
for
think
like
you are, bro. 'cause you
What
wouldn't have
color
lost it.
was the
It was
note?
black moleskin.
I feel like I've
Man,
never
he just
even seen
knew.
Yeah, I remember that notebook because we filled
Was
it.
it like a big notebook?
No,
Like-
it's about big. About
I know you're thinking the one that I currently have.
No, I know it's not
like
that one.
6x3.
It's not that one, Ian.
Interesting.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Chris.
You're welcome, bro. Trying to help out.
I
Yeah.
really don't know where it is. Like I think about it all the time. I'm like, where did it go? I bet you somehow it's just like it's in your car, like under a seat. Somehow.
What?
She didn't even have that.
I
car.
didn't have that car.
Oh,
Wow.
what
So
if
then the other
what if
car?
it was in the Mustang?
Oh no.
Dude, you know
And
what?
we know
It
where it
might
is
have.
now.
It might be in the
Wait.
Mustang.
Where's the Mustang?
He didn't clean it out before
Gone.
it got towed because we thought we were getting it back.
Gone. Dude, it was totaled.
Dude, what if someone like gets that after the game has been successful? Like these were the
Oh.
original writings.
It's gonna break my heart.
It's like the history
honestly-
getting
Like
70
putting out a
years from
bounty on
now.
that book.
obliterated memories, bro.
If you purchased or ended up with a totaled
What year?
Mustang,
2007.
2007,
2007
red.
Mustang
it
6-cylinder.
crashed itself
Into a tree.
into a tree because the e-brake went out.
This sounds like the
If
rubbing.
you
I
are
remember
the
that
owner
day.
of this
that was
Mustang.
so like. Oh.
And in the trunk, you found a skateboard, a chess.
A
game.
longboard? No, a longboard.
It was a skateboard, a chess game, and
Gosh, like so much stuff.
potentially a black notebook
Moleskin
Yeah.
notebook
filled with notes
filled with notes.
Yeah.
on something that doesn't
We want the
exist.
chess game back.
And the note.
Yeah.
With that, we will draw to a close. We do appreciate all of you who have listened to our comprehensive discussion of the planet known as Terrillian. We entice you to listen and learn, following along with each podcast so that you can visualize the vivid and vast world. A tragic tale set forth where the main protagonist, you as the gamer, play to conquer lands and legends, thus creating the lore of your own. In doing so, we hope to gain your favor and turn these stories into a video game. If you want to see more content, check out our website at terrilliangaming.com.